Hi, this is Gretchen, and I'm going to do a short recording about the adjustment brush in Lightroom. Here's your adjustment brush right here, and I'm just going to go through a little bit about it before we get started. So right here is where you pick what kind of adjustment brush you're going to do. These are all the ones that come with Lightroom 4. Down here are all the ones that I have purchased, and they include both adjustment brushes and graduated filters. So they're both, but you'll have all the ones that were listed at the top there. And then down here are all your sliders that you can adjust for each adjustment brush. Okay. And then this is the color picker for if you were going to add color to a picture. This is how you do that. And you can either pick the color just by clicking it like that, and then it'll paint on that color, or you can also pick a color by clicking on somewhere in the color palette and keeping the button clicked and then drag it over in here, and then you can just use your eyedropper to pick any place in the picture like that, and then that's how it can pick the color. That's another way to do that. So okay, down here in this section here is where you can adjust the size of your brush, and it's where you can also adjust the feather, which means how far out the brush is feathered, and then also the flow, which is basically like the opacity. Up at 100% it's going to be opaque, and down as you go down, then it'll be less opaque. The density, I don't really mess with that slider. I could go into explaining it, but it's just best to leave it at 100%. The auto mask button is helpful. When you check it and you do a kind of brush, it'll only brush onto the area that you start with, and it won't overlap into any other areas. So, okay, so that's what those brushes are all about. So, okay, so let's go ahead and say that in this picture, I want to take this little girl and I want to make this side of her face just a little bit brighter. Then I can go into this and let's see, it's going all the way up to the top here, and I might choose the exposure. And now when I choose exposure, I can adjust these things to wherever I want, because when I use the adjustment brush, if I slide this thing, then it's going to make whatever I brush on be brighter. If I bring it down like that, then it'll make whatever I brush on be darker. Okay, so let's just say with my exposure I want to put it at, let's say, 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to brush on right on this side of her face. Before I do that, I'm going to check my flow. My flow is at 100% and my feather is at 56. You can adjust the feather by using Shift bracket. That'll increase the feather. And if you do Shift left bracket, it'll make it smaller. And if you just use the bracket without the shift, it'll make the size of the brush smaller and bigger. Okay, I like to have a little bit of a feather on it there. So let's go ahead and just do it, and you can see what'll happen. You can see how it's brightening up her face there. Okay, if I wanted to apply it to the whole picture, then it would brighten up the other side of her face as well. There you go. And then that's just a localized fix so that it doesn't brighten up the whole entire picture. You'll see this button right here, it's got like a black center. That means that's the active one that I am using right now. Down here there's a solid white one, and what that means is that I have done another adjustment brush down there, and that's where it is, but it's not the one that's selected right now. If I click it, then you'll see now that's the active one. If I go up here and click this one, you'll see this is the active one, and you see when I hold my finger over the button, then it shows you the area that's been painted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click it, and if you want to see the area that's been painted, if you just push the O button, it'll show you an overlay. If you want to see a different color overlay, you can push Shift O, and it'll change it to a different color. See? And that's just nothing, and then takes you back to red. So then you can just click O again, and it'll go away. Okay, that's just a little bit of the. Let me show you how to use the really briefly how to use the auto mask feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to get a new adjustment brush. And here, why don't we just use? I'll just use exposure again, but I'll use a really dark one. Well, never mind. I can't do that right now because I'm out of time. But I'll do another video for you later.